All right. So in this lesson, we're going to go ahead and kind of continue where we left off here. We looked at mixing shaders here, and we looked at bringing in custom attributes inside of our shader network here, and using that to drive where we see some of these shaders. Okay, so let's go back out to our object level, and let's go back into our shader ball. And I'm going to put this off to the side, and let's turn this off. We'll go back to scene view here. I'll just visualize this, and let's lay down a node called a VOP. Okay, and we have these different VOP nodes. We're going to go ahead and use this attribute VOP here. I'm going to go ahead and lay that down, and then I'm going to connect this to our VOP. Let's visualize it, and then we're going to dive in. So what this does, and before I dive in, what this is doing is it's running over points. So we're going to be creating some point attributes here. And if I dive in, this is just a way that we can create a bunch of kind of customized effects here inside this VOP, where there might not be a node available for us to do that. This is basically a way of doing visual programming using these VOP nodes. Okay, so if I hit tab in here, I have a whole bunch of nodes I can use to do something like this. Okay, one of these is if we just type in noise, we have a whole bunch of these different noise patterns. Okay, these different noise pattern nodes. Okay, so for instance, if I use this anti-alias noise, so I'm going to click this and come in here, and you can see we get a bunch of inputs that takes a position, and if I hover over it, you can see it takes a position, there's a frequency, offset, amplitude, roughness. Okay, so this is just because it's a noise pattern. So I'm going to go ahead on my global, these are all global variables, so I got position up here, global position. This is a velocity, force, age, color, ID, so normal. We get a lot of different built-in attributes here that we can go ahead and feed into these other nodes. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to take our position. I'm going to put it into the position here of our node. Okay, and if we take a look at this noise, we can output 1D noise, or we can output 3D noise. I'm going to output 1D noise. I don't need any three-dimensional noise, just a one-dimensional noise. And then I can mess with the frequency, the offset, the amplitude, the roughness, so all that kind of stuff. And it outputs a float. Okay. So what I want to do is I want to take this, just to visualize it for now, I want to go ahead and output this into color so I can see what this noise looks like. So here are some basic outputs. So we got position, velocity, force, color, and normal. So we got color here, but if I hover over color, you can see color's a vector. So remember, it has three channels, a red, a green, and a blue. Okay. So I have a float here and a vector here. Well, I need to convert this. So what I can do is I can do something called a float to vector node. Okay, and we have a lot of these kind of conversion nodes: float to vector, vector to float, float to integer. We have a bunch of these kind of conversion nodes. So here we have our float, first float value 1, 2, 3, and then it outputs a single vector. Okay, and again, you can see the colors here that match up depending on what type of data it is. So I'm going to take this first noise, and because I want this to be a color, I'm going to put this into the first float. So we can act like this is the red channel, the green channel, and the blue channel. Okay, and then this vector will go right out to color here. And we do that, see, we went into the red. If I connected this to the second channel, let me get rid of this. You can see that's green. If I take it and drag it into here, you can see that's blue. Okay, so we'll just put it in red like so, and you can already start to see we have like a noise pattern applied. All right, so I can adjust this now, and I can come up and maybe I want my noise, my frequency to be higher. So the higher the frequency, the tighter the noise is, the smaller the noise is. So I can just go ahead and start bringing that up, and you can see that our noise starts to get smaller here. Let me put this just on smooth shade. Okay. So like so. I can offset my noise, and let me bring up the amplitude So the more I bring up my amplitude, the stronger that noise is going to be. So you can see that like so. I can offset my noise using this offset here in any direction. Okay, so maybe something like that. The roughness, if I bring this down, you can see that smooths it out. If I bring it way up, it really roughens up the noise. So you can have a little combination. And then down here we have two different types of noises that this node provides. Okay. So if I pick a noise pattern I like, so I can use this. So what I can do is I can say maybe this area, this black area will be one type of shader, and then where this noise happens will be another type of shader. So what I can do, instead of outputting this to color, because I'm just doing this for visual purposes, I can use a bind export node. Okay. So bind export, and I can go ahead and I can take my noise here, not from my float to vector, because I just did that to convert it so I can feed it into color. But I can take it straight from the noise here, and I can put it right into my bind export, and I can give this a name, whatever name I want. Okay. Since we're already using mask, maybe I'll go ahead and use mask. So, or actually, you know what? Let's just say noise, so we don't confuse it. So we'll call this noise. The type of data I'm exporting is going to be a float. So that's all good. If I had a different type of data, I could pick it here. Okay. So once we have that, then we're all set up. Okay. So once we have that, we're all set up. So what I can do is I can come and let's go ahead and disconnect the color for now. Okay, we can always leave that there and connect it if we need to change it later on. Okay, just so we don't have any color coming in. So I'm going to go ahead and now let's come back to our material. And instead of mask, this time I'm going to bring in our noise attribute. And then let's go ahead and render this to see what we get. Let's render the whole thing. All right, and there we go. So now you can see that it's obeying our noise pattern where A is going to be that area with no noise, and then the B is going to be the bricks where we're adding that noise, and you can see we get it throughout our shader here. Okay, so we get a combination of this using the noise, and it's a quick way we can do something like that. Okay, so again, maybe this would be a good method to create rust. Where we have patches of rust on this or something like that. So again, just a really nice way where we can do something at the geometry level, make some tweaks, do what we want, and we can bring whatever attribute inside of our shader network to drive our shaders here. Okay, so it just makes it really, really nice and customizable. All right, so that's it for this lesson. And that's it for the shaders. Just a nice basic overview of how to use shaders, how to apply them, how to create some custom shaders, and how to layer shaders. So hopefully you guys got a lot out of these lessons, and we will go ahead and see you in the next ones.